Hey everyone, so this is my third video for the project creativity and I'll jump right into it. So the first thing we're asked is, what did we learn about innovation that we didn't know previously? And the one thing I can say I learned is just how similar but also different the relationship between innovation and invention is. The definition given for innovation in the first module is it's discovering a new way to do something or improving upon an existing service or product. And I always knew that second part was innovation, the improving upon a service or product, but I kind of thought discovering a new way to do something was an invention because it's new. And this ties into the next question, which is, what are the differences between invention and innovation? So I already gave the definition in the module for innovation, but the definition given for invention is discovering not a new way to do something, but discovering something entirely new. So an example of that would be, well, it's a boring example, but discovering electricity and the light bulb. That was an invention. And innovation would be, the best example I can think of is actually in the second module from this section. It's kind of confusing, but the TED Talk by Guy Kawasaki, and the example he gives is the ice industry and how a very long time ago you could only harvest ice in the winter. You had to go down to a frozen lake with your giant saws and sleds and horses and cut it all up and ship it back. It was very labor inducing, a lot of time and effort, and you could only do it in the winter. But they innovated, and they innovated into the ice factory. Now they could produce it at any season, anytime, and just ship it or export it from there to wherever it needed to go. And then they innovated again, and they gave the personal ice machine in the form of a freezer to the everyday person. So that's an example of innovation. I believe the next thing we're asked is the connection between innovation and entrepreneurship. And I would argue that being an innovator already makes you an entrepreneur, because you're trying to create a new way to do something or create a benefit or service that wasn't previously there with the previous way things were being done. And a lot of times people think of an entrepreneur as a single person, one person going out to start their own business or something. But there are actually entrepreneur corporations, which are entire corporations that focus around innovation and using entrepreneurship to accomplish those innovation goals. So that's how that's the connection between innovation and entrepreneurship. The next question we're asked is, how has innovation helped society advance? And it has helped in incredible ways. I think the most impactful ways an innovation has helped are the forms kind of like the ice example I gave. Not ice necessarily, but something that used to be an incredible amount of work, a lot of steps, a lot of complexity to it, and then innovating it into something that is very easy for the even everyday person to access. And a couple examples of this are given in the video by Guy Kawasaki again. The first one is Apple and how they were innovating the personal computer. For years, the computer used to be ginormous. It'd take up an entire room and could only be in, data research facilities or laboratories, not really accessible to the everyday person. But they innovated the computer to be accessible to the everyday person. You could fit it in your home office. Another example is Google, sorry. and they innovated information, and how information used to be very difficult to find. You know, you had to spend hours at the library, or it wasn't as easy as typing in a few buttons on your computer, but Google made that information accessible to everybody. And the last example I'll give is eBay. They innovated the retail marketplace. Previously, if you wanted to sell something, you know, you really didn't have too many options, and you're competing against these large companies. So eBay sort of evened out the playing field, at least more so. It's still not very even with their fees and everything, but definitely innovated that space a lot. Lastly, the last question we're asked is, what are two strategies or approaches to innovation? And these were given in the What is Innovation module, and I forget what the name of the article is, but it's by Gary Plisano. And the first form he mentions is routine innovation. And routine innovation you can sort of think of as the second half of that definition of innovation I gave earlier, sort of improving upon an existing product or service. And an example you can think of is Apple. You know, they release an iPhone every year, and they're pretty much the same thing, but they're improving upon it every year. And another example, I think this is the one given in the paper, is the Intel chips, the processors. They're getting better every year or every 2 years, and yeah, that's an example of routine innovation. The second form is disruptive innovation, and this one actually took me a little bit to understand. It was kind of a difficult concept to understand, because it's not disrupting, it's disrupting your competitors basically in the model. So the example given that helped me understand it was that, you know, Google has an operating system, and that's the Android operating system, and it disrupts the services of the Microsoft operating system and the Apple operating system, not because the Android one is so much better or anything, but because of it's not gate kept, I guess. It's free, so you can use the Android operating system with a variety of devices. Meanwhile, if you want to use the Microsoft one, you have to have a Microsoft device, and an Apple device, you will have to have an Apple device. So those are two approaches to innovation, and I think I'm getting towards 8 minutes here in my video, so I should probably wrap it up. I think I met all the points. So thank you all for listening, and I look forward to seeing all your videos. Thanks.